When you hear the name Brett Favre, you think this: an 11-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, the first quarterback to pass for 500 touchdowns, throw for 70,000 yards, and complete 6,000 passes, and a Super Bowl champion. But one thing sticks out to me that isn't mentioned as often, and that's his time as a NASCAR owner. In today's edition of Racing Reference Stories, we are going to talk about when Brett Favre owned a team. So let's get into it. Favre's first attempt in this venture came in late 1997 when he was set to buy the legendary Bud Moore team with Tim Steele's family. Tim Steele was an absolute beast in ARCA, and up to this point was already set to become a 3-time ARCA Series champion. Brett Favre was able to use his influence to persuade Nike and Sony to put up financial backing for the 1998 season. Unfortunately, these plans collapsed when Steele suffered a serious head injury while testing at Atlanta that fall. He was never the same after that, and his story will be told in another edition of Racing Reference Stories. In the meantime, Brett Favre put his NASCAR plans on hold. Fast forward a year later, and Favre returned to NASCAR looking for ownership again. Early in 1999, he connected with Dale Jarrett and bought a 25% stake of ownership in Jarrett's Busch Series team. Favre went on to wave the green flag for the 1999 Daytona 500, and it was around that time that Favre Jarrett Motorsports was announced. After the announcement, he was quoted in saying, "I've been a racing fan for quite some time, and when I first met Dale, I knew we had much in common. When I first met Dale, I immediately knew that I had met someone who is just as competitive as I am. Beneath that quiet surface is someone who wants to win as much as I do, and we immediately hit it off." Soon after, he was able to put his influence to good use once again, and was able to attract Madison, Wisconsin-based Rayovac as a sponsor. The battery maker agreed to sponsor the team for 14 races. With a big lightning bolt on the side of the cars, the 11 was chosen to honor the legacy of Ned Jarrett. The initial plans called for Robert Yates Racing Cup Series drivers to split the schedule. 1998 Cup Series Rookie of the Year Kenny Irwin would drive the car for 11 races. Jarrett would drive it for 3. Irwin was given this larger schedule to help him learn as a young driver. Jarrett Favre Motorsports made their debut at Texas Motor Speedway on March 27th. One day after winning the pole for the Cup race, Kenny Irwin continued his strong weekend by qualifying 10th in the Busch race. Kenny Irwin was solid throughout the race as he spent most of it inside the top 10. In a rain-shortened event that ended on lap 163, he would end up scoring the team's first ever top 5 finish in their debut. Despite a tremendous start, Jarrett Favre Motorsports simply couldn't keep up. Irwin failed to qualify in their next race at California. Then they failed to qualify at Charlotte, with Brett Favre in attendance. Irwin made 5 races, but also DNQ'd for 5 more. His 1999 stats are this: 0 wins, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s, and an average finish of 14th. Irwin's 5th place finish at Dover in September turned out to be the last race he qualified for. Once it was announced that Irwin would leave Robert Yates Racing at the end of the season, he was cut from the team and replaced by Steve Grissom. Grissom finished inside the top 25 only once in 4 starts. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett was expected to run 3 races, but only attempted 1. He would make his only start for the team at Darlington on Labor Day weekend in a Green Bay Packers paint scheme. The eventual 1999 Cup Series champion finished a mere 39th with overheating problems. For the 2000 season, the team made some wholesale changes. Jarrett Favre Motorsports attempted to run the entire season with Dale Jarrett's son, Jason Jarrett, as its full-time driver. The team also switched from Ford to Pontiac at the beginning of the season, but come mid-season, the team would switch again to Chevy. In 1999, Jason Jarrett made 9 starts, scoring 0 top 10s, 5 DNFs, and an average finish of 31.2. Unfortunately, the 2000 season would see a bit of the same.
We have a second caution flag today, and unfortunately, it's a 3rd-generation driver, Jason Jarrett, in the Rayovac Pontiac. There's what's left of the back of that car. Pretty heavy impact into the outside wall on turn 2.
There we see the 11 car of Jason Garrett. Then Jarrett, he gets a bump from Buckshot Jones right in the back, and around goes Jason.
There's Jason Jarrett as their backup car. They lost 1 car, had some sheet metal damage. They really lose the race car, but they couldn't race it today in happy hour yesterday when a tire was cut in front of him.
And right there's a contact between the 34 car of David Green and the 82 of Derek Gilchrist. And Green goes around. Mike Dillon's involved. There we see David Starr in the 16 car. And Matt Hunter, the 51 car, is involved.
Jason Jarrett.
Oh, Jason Jarrett really shortens up the car in 21st spot. That did say Rayovac. Now it just says Ray. That's how badly he's shortened up the race car. Don't know if he had contact with Borkowski. He was to the outside of him. Man, that was a wicked hit.
Thank goodness for the fuel cell that they have now. It's a rubber bladder tank instead of the old metal tank that we used to have. That would have been a serious fire just a few years back.
And here we see Jason first throwing one item, and then
well, that's
later on.
That's one heel heat deflector, and now he's going to throw the other one at him.
A left-hander. And Borkowski, the receiving end there. There's Mike Borkowski.
As he went down to the bottom there and got through traffic.
Yeah, and poor Johnny Rumley in the zero there. He was.
Whoa! Petty gets into it. The number 90 involved in this, Mike Stefanik. And the other car involved.
That's Jason Jarrett in the 11.
Kyle Petty just run out of racetrack. I saw him with his left side wheels all the way down on that black apron. And when you get down in the corner, buddy, that will not work.
And now when Jason Jarrett has just walked from the care center, he is okay, but can't say the same thing about the car. Jason, what happened?
You know, I really don't know, just a chain reaction thing. Somebody spun out in front of us, or was spun out in front of us, and somebody got me from behind. I started getting slowed down pretty good. Thought I was going to be able to go straight through it. Somebody just got into the back of me. It's just, you know, that's just racing at the first. Everybody's on new tires. And I actually had a pretty good car up on the outside right at the first of the race, and unfortunately for me and this Rayovac team, they ended short again.
His 2000 stats are this: 0 wins, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, and an average finish of 31.1, along with 5 DNFs and 11 DNQs. After the season, Rayovac left the team and left Jarrett Favre Motorsports sponsorless. Without any financial backing, the team shut down before the 2001 season. Brett Favre would continue playing in the NFL up until his retirement in 2010, and in 2016 would officially be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I guess you could say his short stint in NASCAR was just like his short stint with the Atlanta Falcons. A complete bust. And once again, that'll do it for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Black Flags Matter. Catch you next time.